Hey everybody, it's Jamie from No Getting Off This Train, and in today's video I have some vegetarian meal prep ideas that you can use for breakfast and lunch. One of the many things that you all have asked me for in the past few months is meal prep ideas and lunch ideas, and a lot of you have asked for vegetarian lunch ideas. So I got together a few different recipes to put for you today in this video. I've got 4 lunch ideas and I have 2 breakfast ideas. Some of them are vegan, which means it has no dairy products either. Some of them are vegetarian. So I will be sure to tell you which is which. I will give you all the nutrition information at the end of each one and other topping ideas that you can put on top of them. Now, a lot of these are bowl ideas. So I am a huge fan of putting together just a bunch of ingredients and putting them into bowl form. I feel like that is the easiest way for me to eat healthier because I can combine a whole bunch of different vegetables, put them all together and put like some protein in there, another carb, and I've got a really healthy dish. And the cool thing is some of these are actually no heat lunches because some of you have said, well, I really need some lunches that I can just take with me and I don't have a way to heat them up. So hopefully these will give you some ideas too. Now let me take you into each recipe now and give a little bit of explanation on each one. These 4 lunches were done simultaneously in a meal prep session, so they're going to be kind of like scattered throughout here. First, I wanted to make some egg salad, so I put some eggs in the Instant Pot and hard boiled those. I do the 5-5-5 method, which turns out perfectly. Next, I put like 3 cups or 4 cups of quinoa in my rice cooker. Super easy to cook in your rice cooker. I used, well, chicken broth, but to make a vegetarian, use vegetable broth. So I let that cook. You could use your rice cooker on the white setting for like 30 to 40 minutes and I think it's done. Next up, I am getting some sweet potatoes ready for a Cajun sweet potato and black bean bowl. So I chopped up about a pound of sweet potatoes. I put them in a bowl and then I'm going to put a lot of stuff in it. Olive oil, a few seasonings, but I'm getting this ready because it roasts in the oven for 20 minutes and then I can get pretty much everything else done while that cooks, which is really, really helpful. So in here I put in 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and now the recipe calls for Cajun seasoning, but I didn't have any, so I used this Taco Tuesday seasoning from Flavor God, which made it smell amazing. Then I added some salt and pepper and mixed it all together. I put it on that pan there and I stuck it in the oven at 400 for 20 minutes. Next up, the hard-boiled eggs were done. Like I said, the 5-5-5 method is perfect. You cook it for 5 minutes, let it naturally release for 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes in the ice bath. So I got these in there, and after 5 minutes, these things peeled beautifully. I set them all aside because I had to do a couple more things before getting the egg salad ready. Next up, I was working on the black bean and sweet potato bowl. I put some olive oil in a pan and cooked up some onions. And then after a while that was cooking, I worked on some of the vegetables for the other bowls. I find that multitasking while other things are cooking makes the time more efficient. So the sweet potatoes came out at this time. They were nice and roasted. To the onions, I added some garlic and a can of drained black beans. Also added some more of the Taco Tuesday seasoning, some more salt and pepper, and I let that cook for maybe like 2 or 3 more minutes and it was done. I set all that aside to cool while I got everything else ready. Now for the egg salad, I used Greek yogurt, the full fat actually, and then I used some Dijon mustard, added some paprika, some salt and pepper, and then used a fork to mash it all together. Now you could add, gosh, so many other things to it. You could add like garlic powder, onion powder, any other seasonings that you enjoy in your egg salad. Now, the one thing I forgot to add and didn't realize it until after I put it in this container here is the vegetables. Now, this recipe had called for red onion and also celery, but I don't really like celery. So instead, I chopped up a few dill pickles and put that in there instead, kind of like as a relish, which works out pretty well. So this serves 4, and as you can see the nutrition info up there, you could add it as a sandwich on some whole wheat bread, you could put it in a tortilla, but it was really, really good. Now, the sweet potato and black bean mixture had cooled off a little bit, so I divided them into 4 containers. It was about a half cup of the black bean mixture and basically a half cup of everything. The black beans, the sweet potatoes, and the quinoa. Now, with this, I mean, it's a complete meal in itself, and this one is actually vegan, but if you wanted to make it more vegetarian, you could add some sour cream, you could add some cheese, or you could add like some guacamole, avocado, other vegetables like bell peppers, or even lettuce to make it into a salad. So that one's down. Now I got 2 more to do. This next one was a Mediterranean hummus bowl. So on the bottom of these containers, I just put like a handful of baby spinach. So many vegetables go in this. I put in the chopped cucumber. I halved some grape tomatoes and stuck those in there. I also have some black olives in there. And then I took a can of chickpeas and drained those and put that in the bowl. I also added in a half cup of quinoa and then the hummus. I used a store-bought roasted red pepper hummus, but you could use whatever style you want. For this one, I mean, the calories, there's 300 calories in it, so if you needed to add more to it, you could add some more chickpeas, you could add some olive oil to it as a dressing or something, but otherwise, this could make a really good and a really light lunch. Now we have 1 more to go. This next one is a tomato and quinoa salad. So I put in as a dressing some olive oil, lime juice, garlic powder, cumin, and then some other things like salt and pepper. I mixed that all together for the dressing. And then in a larger bowl, I added a can of chickpeas, then some diced green onions, and then some chopped tomatoes, and the rest of the quinoa. It was probably like 2 or 2.5 cups of quinoa. I put the dressing in and then realized that my bowl was too small. So I stuck it in a bigger bowl and mixed all of that together. And that was it. That is like the meal right there. So putting them into the containers here, it was maybe a cup and a half of mixture. It's not a whole lot of food. So to this one, this is vegan, but if you are a vegetarian, you could add some feta cheese to it. You could even, I don't know, cut it in half or double it actually and eat 2 servings instead of 1 serving. You could also add some spinach to it to kind of make it a salad too, but this does pretty good by itself too. So here are all the lunches. Now you do not have to do all of this in one session like I did. You could do all of it or do one of them at a time. That is totally fine. But this is what it all looks like when it's done. Easy. A lot of them are even no heat, so you can take them with you, don't have to heat it up in the microwave, and it is good to go. So I was happy to not have to cook for a few days after this. So there's the lunches. I also have 2 breakfasts for you. Now this first one is an overnight oats. This is chocolate peanut butter, and oh my gosh, you guys, this is so good. I only prepped 2 of them, but if you want to prep more for the week, you can do that. This oatsome milk right here, I got it for free with an Ibotta rebate and wanted to try it out. Now the problem with this oat milk, it's 130 calories for 1 cup, which is more than what I like to use. I prefer almond milk, but this actually gave the oats a good like creamy texture. I used a little over a 1/4 cup of the oat milk. I also added a 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt. If you wanted to make this vegan, you could use non-dairy yogurt. Now I used 2 tablespoons of peanut butter powder. You could use regular peanut butter if you want, but I like the texture and how it has less fat in it. And I also added a tablespoon of cocoa powder. I mixed all of that up, put the lids on, and put them in the fridge overnight. Now, it doesn't look like there's a lot in there, but what you're supposed to do is add things to it. So I added some peanuts to it actually, and some bananas. So as you can see, 249 calories just for the oats. You'll have to add more calories for the fruit and the nuts if you like, but it was so good. And this last recipe is a apple cinnamon French toast casserole. This was so good and it made a ton. It's just your simple French toast mixture, eggs, milk. I put in some maple syrup and some vanilla and cinnamon, mixed all of that together, and then set it aside for a minute. And now here comes the bread. Now, if you want to, you could use whole wheat bread because it has more fiber and a little bit more protein. But if you like a more fluffy casserole, I would recommend using this Texas toast here. I get this one from Walmart, and it is the best Texas toast I've ever had. So I used almost an entire loaf of it, cubed it up, set it in the pan there. And then I cored and peeled and diced 2 apples. You could probably use like 1 or 2 more if you want. I think the recipe called for 2 or 3 cups, but I just figured 2 apples would be enough. And if you choose to use the Texas toast instead of whole wheat bread, the apples will give you a little bit more fiber, which is nice. And then you just pour the egg mixture on top. Make sure it's all smoothed out and the bread is coated in the mixture, and then put it in the oven and bake it, and it is done. This recipe serves 6, and it makes 6 really good sized servings. I served mine actually with some cottage cheese for some extra protein. It does actually have quite a bit of protein in it already. But you could also serve it with some scrambled eggs, hard-boiled eggs. You could pour a little bit of maple syrup on top. It's already kind of sweet, but maple syrup helps it as well. But yeah, this was super, super good. I hope this gave you a few ideas. I know I had a lot of fun making them, and like I said, you don't have to do all of that in one session. You could make a double batch of it. Like if you wanted to eat it all week, you could double it to make 8 instead of 4 servings. But I've got the links to each of those recipes in the description, so make sure you check those out and give those bloggers some love too. I am also working on some low-carb meal prep recipes because that's the second most requested thing from you is low carb. So I will have that video out in a couple of weeks. Check the link in my description because I've got the playlist link to all of my meal prep videos. So when it does come out, you just click down there and it'll be right in there. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, please do so, because when you subscribe, when you ring that bell right there, you'll be notified when that video comes out, as well as my other grocery hauls, recipes, and meal planning tips. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you later.